So, hi, and welcome to the Power Podcast today in English. And I want to introduce a really important person of mine. It's my mental coach, Salwa. I'm really happy about our conversation because we work since March last year, I guess. And I came to Salwa because I thought she was such an interesting person, and I wanted to learn from her about my emotions because in this moment we started our work. I felt like really stuck and overwhelmed from my feelings, and I tended to push them down and try to. Yeah, I think the result was I knocked myself out.
Mm.
And yeah, and she's here. So, Sava, welcome and thank you for your time. I want to, yeah, let's introduce yourself.
Hello, Maya. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. And okay, I will give you a small introduction about me. My name is Salwa, and I am Lebanese. I come from Lebanon. I studied mass communication and psychology. I have worked in the last 10 years of my life with people when it comes to their psyche, their mental health, and I worked closely with people who were affected by physical and sexual and emotional abuse in their lives. So this is what I did the last couple of years. I also have been studying psychotherapy the last 3 years, and I'm still learning. And I work as a mindset coach, more of a holistic coach, but I focus more on the mental health because our mind is the source of everything in our lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is it.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the goal and the topic of our podcast today is to, yeah, and understand our mind a little bit better and to, yeah, be more pleasant with our emotions and also to look to our traumas and be courageous to heal them. So this is what I want to give our listeners today, and I think it would be nice to start with the emotion. So, Sava, how would you explain an emotion, and where is it coming from? Why do we have it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So psychologists and scientists have been trying most of the last years to get a specific definition of emotions. And what they came through eventually is that emotions are a complex of mental and psychological states that are produced by the brain, they're created by our brain, and they arises into a response of internal or external stimuli. So when something happens inside of us or outside of us, we feel emotional. Most of the time, basically, they are subjective and they are associated by our thoughts, our feelings, behavior changes, or physiological changes as well. Our emotions are also has frequencies and they are related to our state of consciousness. So the more we are consciousness, the higher and the more positive our emotions are, and vice versa. So they are basically very primitive. Our emotions are used by our brain, our mind, as a survival mechanism. If we want to think about anxiety, anxiety saved us as Homo sapiens. It helped us because we had this anxiousness and fear. We were able to survive this long in our lives, to like because we survived dangers, other sapiens, other animals. So our emotions are basically very important for our survivals, and we need to understand them to live a healthier and a better life.
Yeah, I think the understanding is a really crucial part, and it's really important because you mentioned consciousness, and to be conscious is also to see and accept an emotion. I think this is the first part, and um, for me it was, and I think for my clients I work with too, is the feeling to be guided by our emotion. And I think the goal is to switch that to see them and learn from them, right? And to use them also. How would you name this?
So I would think about emotions are like signals in our bodies or in our selves. They provide us with very valuable emotion and information, sorry, about ourselves, about our relationships, about our surroundings. And they tell us different things. But once we listen to our emotions, we can, for example, one of the things that our emotions tells us is about our needs and desires. So let's give an example. Sometimes um, we feel very lonely, or we have this feeling of loneliness. It's an indicator that you or the person needs to connect with others. So this is the feeling, and this is what we really need. So this is about our desires. Another sign is emotions tells us about our values. If sometimes you feel like I care about something very too much, and if you feel angry that maybe this was a breach in your values, or like this thing that happened was affecting something you really believed in, or something that really meant to you. So it tells us about our values. It tells us about our coping mechanisms. Sometimes we feel very anxious, very stressed. So when we feel these things, it means that we need to develop new coping mechanisms and new situations, or situations that we have not surpassed in our lives. Our emotions can tell us also about our relationships. If we feel like we are distrustful to someone, or we feel like the relationship is, you feel like there's something up, distrust or annoyingness, it means that there's some part of the relationship we need to work on.
Mhm.
Mm, Also, our boundaries. When we feel disrespected, it means that our boundaries has been breached. Another part is our intuition. Also, our emotions give us this gut feeling because of our experiences or how we feel about a certain topic or a situation or a person. We have this gut feeling, and our gut feeling, our intuition is telling us something. So I would say that our emotions are very important for us to navigate our place or our space, and how we perceive life or situations or people or our surroundings or anything in our lives. So they are valuable information, and once we tune into them, we can learn a lot about ourselves and others, of course.
Yeah. So the important thing is to look at them and to
Mhm.
observe. And what we can learn out of that is, I noted it down, is information about our desires,
Mhm.
about our values,
Yes.
about our coping mechanisms or improvement of coping mechanisms, about our relationships, boundaries, and I think it's a holy part is the intuition
Yes.
to see this and to um, have trust in this.
Mhm. Yes.
And how does one start? So if I would listen to it, and for me, it's the starting to, yeah, get in touch with my emotions. How can I start to look? and learn from my emotions and not feeling mastered, because as I came to you, I was feeling under pressure. I was really angry. Yeah, I think I was in a really low frequency at all, and I felt guided, mastered from my emotions. And if one is listening to this and feels the same, because I think there are a lot of people feeling in this mental state, and to try to feel better and to learn about mindset, but also feeling like mastered from this I don't want to say negative emotions, but in the first part it's negative for the person itself. So how do we start to look and learn and not feeling bad about feeling bad?
Yes. The first step is for us to acknowledge the emotion. Okay, when I feel something negative, let's say, because this is what people emphasizes about most of the time. People, when they are happy or when they are feeling joyful, excited, or anything, they are in a higher frequency and they feel that they are on a different calibration, and their whole body and their whole mood is on a different level. So nobody questioned this. But usually, as humans, we question our negative emotions and we label them as bad. And that is the main issue, let's say, or the challenge. We need to look at negative emotions as part of us as well, that it's in our or from our human nature to feel these feelings. This is the first step, is to acknowledge them as normal, that they are not bad, they're not against us, they are just part of our human nature.
Yeah,
And as I said,
I just want to emphasize on this, because it's really, I think this is the most important part to acknowledge, that positive emotions equals negative emotions is like the same. You don't have to put more weight on the one and on the other. And I think this is really, really helpful to sink into this information. Thank you for that.
you're welcome. So, as I said in the beginning, as humans, we have um, we have been saved by our anxiety. You know, we were able to survive a lot of dangers. And even though it was a negative emotion, as we can say it now, anxiety, but it helped us survive and it helped us to be where we are right now in the human history. So the first thing, acknowledge it, label it, like say, what do I feel right now? Okay, I feel, for example, frustrated. Okay, why do I feel frustrated? And this will help you understand why you are triggered, what is the cause of this emotion. Like, sit with the emotion. Do not push it away. Do not suppress it. Do not escape it. Do not flee it. And try not to express it. Just sit with it. Listen to it. What do I want to tell myself? This is the first step. The second step is what I always tell my clients and myself, is to practice mindfulness, which is being fully present and aware of my thoughts, of my feelings, of my surroundings, of everything that is happening in the entity of me being in this emotional state. And when you go into this mindfulness state, you directly calm down. You directly start to be grounded, because you are not acting out of impulsiveness to the emotion, rather than letting it be and let it take place. And then when you calm down, you will understand more about what you are trying to tell yourself, or what your triggers are, or why this emotion is like this.
Yeah, this is so interesting. I love how you phrase the steps. So the first is acknowledgement, And the second is to label it and see where it's coming from. And to sit and listen is the third. And the fourth is awareness or mindfulness. And it's interesting because I had a team call last Sunday and I mentioned not the same. I think it was nearly the same steps because it helped me so much, not to act from emotion, just to see it and not running away and not pushing it down. Let it stay and see where it's coming from. And when you look at it, you will see it's coming from yourself because it's your own thought about the situation. It's your own thinking about yourself, and always, like, most of the time, when you set yourself maybe under pressure, it's like you feeling not good enough or not capable enough.
Yes.
And this awareness or mindfulness step, I think it's also good because you come into the moment, into the now. Yeah,
Yes.
this is pretty amazing. But I think the challenging part is to not run away.
Yes. Because most of us, we have four four ways of dealing with our emotions. Is to suppress it, repress it. When it comes, we're like, I don't want to feel this feeling. I just push it down, down, down. Or when it starts to arise again, we repress it again. So no, you're not allowed to. I don't want to feel like this. Or another way is to escape it, like I will just go out, hang out with my friends, I will ignore my emotion, I will like stall myself, I will consume substances, I will go party, I will like do anything not to feel this feeling. And third is to express it, like write about it, talk about it. It's better than escaping it, but at least it's also a way to deal with it. And the last one is we go into shock, which is a freeze. We freeze when we have an emotion. We don't know what to do. So these four ways of dealing with an emotion, most of humans do this, and this doesn't really help them because it's all not letting the emotion be, but running away from it in different various ways. So
Yeah.
the more we let our emotions to stay, is the more we will understand ourselves, and the more we will understand others and how they are acting and what they are feeling, and it makes us connect on a different level.
Yeah, I think this is also interesting in looking back for my process, because I think the part people tend to think about is to judge their emotions, because we are in this era of mindset, and everyone has like advices for feeling good and to have a positive mindset. And then when you see you have like negative emotions, you try to judge yourself. Like me, I judged myself a lot and pushed my feelings down, and I did it a long time. And the some kind of effect was angry attacks or anxiety attacks. And just this was just a sign, looking back, that I was completely unhappy with my situation, but I didn't wanted to look at it. I just tried to run away from it and to cope somehow, but I didn't looked at it. And this is, yeah, if you do this over a long time, it can destroy yourself, right?
Yes, I think you did a great job the last couple of months. You evolved a lot.
Yeah.
um yes, it is one of, okay, so suppressing our emotions, running away from it, or like not doing anything about it, or like writing, or it's like not writing, I mean expressing it, um, really do not help the situation, because you are not giving it the space. You are not giving it the space. You are just pushing it somewhere away. And this can accumulate, because you don't do it only in one thing, because as humans, we don't have one single event that's happening in our life that makes us emotions. We have series of events since we are children until we are adults and so on. So we still accumulate. So we need to learn to be with the emotion and let it go, to let it be and then let it go. Because when we give it the space and fully the space and we feel it in our body and everything, it will has no effect on us. It will have no effect on us. It will like go slowly when it needs to go.
Yes, and this is you made a great bridge to the topic of trauma, because I think what we wanted to talk about today also is to heal our traumas, and as you mentioned, it's strongly connected to our emotions which we have now, and also I think the impact of the emotions, or why do they come up in some situations. And the background is that we need to look at our traumas, or it would be pleasant to look at them. Can you explain a trauma? Because for me, at first, as I heard about healing and traumas, I was like, oh, it's so dramatic. I don't have like this dramatic life. I don't need this. And it has so much, I don't know how to explain, but it sounds like a drama. But everyone has traumas, right? So I would love you to explain this.
So a trauma is an experience of emotionally, psychologically distressing events that happen in someone's life. Okay. And it can have a long lasting effect on individuals. And it comes from different places. What is a kind of a trauma? So it can be physical, sexual, emotional abuse, for example. It can be a car accident, a physical injury, a severe physical injury. It can be emotional neglect or physical neglect. It can be from emotional trauma, for example, medical trauma, exposure to violence, to war, all of these things. Also, losing a beloved person can be a trauma. So, and the trauma, it varies. Not everybody has the same traumas, and not everybody is affected the same way. So it like we are humans, we all have the same we all have the same mechanisms, and we have the same um, minds in a way, and how we are structured from the inside. But sometimes people tell me, I am not traumatized. I don't have this. I didn't lose someone I love as a child, for example. I didn't witness war. I didn't witness a severe accident. But people neglect that verbal abuse, emotional abuse, neglect as children, these all come from childhood most of the time, are very traumatizing for people, because it can affect their self-worth, their self-image, how they perceive themselves. They will feel most of their lives in shame and guilt and self-blaming. So this is a very, very deep topic. We cannot really go very, very deep in it at the moment. We will just talk about it on the surface. But this is the frame. This is the frame. And it is very important for someone to heal their traumas. Why? Because it can give the person more control over his own life and over the negative effects that this trauma caused him. So they can reduce and decrease the effect of the trauma on their lives. because trauma affects people's personal. You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Sorry, something happened on the PC. So yes, this is basically what a trauma is. It says it's like a an emotional response to an event that caused us psychological distress in our lives.
So, and as we live in the now and we want to live, be present and care for our future, so why are these traumas from the past affecting our present and also our future? And why is it that necessary or good? I think, or to just say beneficial to heal them, to not being influenced from them in the future.
Yes. Our traumas usually affect our subconscious. Okay, so because we have something called underlying emotion, and our underlying emotion is present in our subconscious mind. It is not very conscious to us. Not everybody is able to access this unless they do um, counseling, therapy, or any professional help. So, so a lot of people are acting out of their traumas without them knowing.
Can you give an example, like an
So,
easy one?
okay, so I will give you some example. A person who wants to buy a Cadillac or a Ferrari. So you ask this person why you want to buy this Cadillac. Why do you want to? Why do you want to? Why do you want to buy this Cadillac? What for? Because I feel I will have more status. I will have more present in society. I will have this. Okay, what for you want this? You need to ask yourself another question. Why do I want this? Because it will give me more respect. Because it will give people will admire me because of this. Why? Because makes me feel happy. Why does that make you feel happy? Because I feel secure and that I have a place. So most probably people who have this urge to prove to society or to others by buying, let's say, too much materialistic stuff or expensive stuff is because they feel unfulfillment and insecurity within themselves. So they do these things to cover this up. And most of the time, let's say not all the times, so not to be generalizing everybody, but it comes from a place where this person felt low self-worth as a child because something happened in his childhood, you know, anything related to his parents or his teacher or his friends made him feel like he is not worthy. So he needs to prove for them that I am here. So I will get this car to fulfill my insecurity and on my unfulfillment of happiness. So this is a very simple, basic example.
Yeah. So, and would you say that okay, when I like, I think with bodybuilding or fitness or body related goals, it's the same. Like, you want to achieve a kind of a physique to prove something to yourself or to raise your self-worth, and or physical or fitness goals in general. Yeah. And would you say when you explore the deep down reason, um, so you could stop achieving this goal because you see it's to raise your self-worth, or would you recommend to also strive towards it, but now you know you're really the real drive, what drives you?
Mm. So this depends on the person and on the case. And some people realize that why I do what I do is, for example, to prove something. But they really like it and they really enjoy it, and it's became part of their identity, and it's not harmful, and it's not causing them damage to their lives. It's just something they enjoy. So some people choose to stop because they want to try something new that looks more familiar to their real self, or something that has nothing to do with what they were trying to prove all the time. Or people stay with it. There's no problem in doing this. It's not problematic, but it depends on the person and what they really thrive to do in life. Only if it's not causing them damage. If it's still causing them emotional damage or physical damage or any sort of disturbance on their mental health, then there's still question marks. But
Okay.
if it's not and they really enjoy it, then it's okay.
So what happens when we don't heal our traumas?
Let's say, sorry, what happens when we heal our traumas?
That's a good question.
When we heal our traumas, we have, because listen, if we don't heal our traumas, we do not progress in life. We do not progress in our lives. We remain in a way where we are, and we can have a lot of difficulties, like chronic stress, chronic PTSD, which is post-traumatic disorder. This comes from, we have depression, anxiety, chronic stress, insomnia. Everybody has his own thing. We can also have difficulties in relationships, in the current relationships we are, or in the new relationships, because we will be acting through our traumas. You
Mm-hmm.
know, our traumas will be acting for us, not our true self. We will have negative self-image. We will have low self-esteem. We
Yeah.
will have
Can we just go again into react through our traumas? Can you explain this again? I think it would be great.
because how can we act through our trauma? If we suffered from a trauma and this trauma caused us some stress or made us feel fear about a situation, okay? Let's say we had a car accident, and every time we go into a car with someone, we will feel anxious, and we have this stress. You know, what if this happened again? And you know, you will stay in this mental stress, and it will be chronical if you don't heal that, if you don't address this trauma.
Yeah.
So this stress can stay with you for life.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by
Yeah.
reacting
Yeah. Yeah.
from
Yeah. It's
from
nice.
our
It's a
trauma.
nice. It's a nice example. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
it's a simple one.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think just to make it clear for the listeners to,
mhm,
yeah,
yes. We also, when we don't heal our traumas, we can have physical problems, like physical problems, because
yeah,
our mind is the reflection on our body. Like
yeah,
you cannot split your mind and your body, like it's two entities. They are one entities. So whatever is perceived in the mind, the body is translated, that translates it. And there's a lot of things in psychology and psychotherapy, it's called psychosomatic disorders. Like you can have autoimmune diseases, you can have heart diseases, you can have, it depends on the threshold of the trauma and what happened. I'm just talking in general, let's say. And a lot of people also use substances, drugs, alcohol. It's a way of escaping their trauma. And they think that, oh, I'm just having fun. I'm just, I'm talking about abuse. I'm not talking about moderation or little substance taking intake. So this is also a form of what we can have what can happen when we do not work on our traumas.
yeah. And when it's someone sees, okay, maybe this in my past maybe in no, I forgot the word. This is Maya on zero carbs. Like
I
so
understand.
is influenced maybe I am influenced from a kind of trauma in my past. So how do I start healing?
Okay. Let's say healing takes stages. Okay. If you want to start healing, first of all, you need to acknowledge that you have some problem. I usually tell people when you go to bed and you want to put your head on the pillow, do you feel that something is aching you from the inside? Do you feel like you are doing something that is against your will, or do you feel like you are not in a good place? Then acknowledge there's something hurting you, that there's a problem or a challenge or an issue inside of you that needs to be recognized or addressed. This is the first step of healing. This is the first step. The next step is it depends on what do you want to do about your healing and how you want to heal. So there's a lot of ways to heal. You can go to therapy, you can go to counseling, you can go to professional coaches. I'm not talking about life coaches, by the way. Life coaches, they heal the symptoms, not the problem. We are talking about there's a lot of physical trauma therapies. There's a lot of things. It depends on what you choose, and each way has its own method.
Yeah, so you have to take action, go out of your comfort zone.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is very important what you said. Yes,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are afraid of change because they think that once they do this, they will lose themselves. Basically, they will not lose themselves, they will gain themselves, and they will lose everything that no longer served them. But this is a very delicate situation, and people need a lot of courage to step into this, to
Yeah.
like admit to themselves, okay, I need help. Because in a world where vulnerability is considered weakness, exposing yourself and like allowing yourself to feel like, okay, there is something wrong with me is a big step. Because when you have a problem in your stomach, you can go to the doctor. But when you have a problem that's been emotionally hurting you or have a huge impact on your life, you ignore it. So we just nowadays we need to normalize like seeking help is very important and seeking support.
Yeah.
So this is the first step, acknowledging it and try to figure out where and how will I work on this.
Mm. As
Yes.
there are so many different ways of therapy or coaching, how do I find the perfect match for me?
Depends on each one's person's case and how severe it is. Because some people can work with the mindset coaches. Some people can work with psychotherapists. Some people need to do CBT, which is behavioral therapy. Some people need to do. Some people need to go to psychiatry. You know, like it depends on how severe do you feel there's a problem. You can go to a coach, and the coach will tell you sometimes, sorry, but this is beyond my expertise. I prefer if you go to a psychotherapist. A
Yeah.
psychotherapist, you will go to a psychotherapist and maybe he will tell you, this is not my domain. You need to go to a psychiatrist, sorry. So it depends on the case and how you are adapting in your life and what you're doing and what's your lifestyle and how you are taking care of yourself. This
Yeah.
also plays a very big role.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I can tell from my own experience now, because I'm really authentic in my podcast, and I can just give a little dive into. We started working, and some months in our work, then I went through a breakup, And in this case, I decided to really look at it and want to heal from it, because normally I think I would cope uh, with other men or with other things and don't look at my emotions, because they were really severe in this moment, and also for a longer time than I would have expected. And this wasn't easy for me to really, as you perceive yourself as a strong person, you don't want to have these weakness feelings, or as you, I felt weak. And it was a strong support that you already have been there. Because I think in this situation, to really go and to seek help in the moment you don't really want to feel those emotions is not an easy step. So do you have like a recommendation for people in this case?
I always tell people to seek support.
Yeah.
This is the first step. Seek support, even from your friend or from your family member or someone you trust. Start there. You don't
Yeah.
have to directly go to a professional to help you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like start there, and if you felt like it's still there and it's going worse, it's not getting better, then maybe you need some help.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I interrupted you.
no, tell me, sure, tell me.
Yeah, and I think in my case it was also that it was not the breakup itself. It was like I started healing one thing and then they plopped up other things, because I always pushed them down. And I think this was also a reason why it like took me longer than I expected. But from the standpoint now, I'm really so grateful that I looked at it and I started to really work on it, and to let the emotions be.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This is one of the steps. You see, like healing is I always say this, I don't know if you remember, but it's not linear, you know.
Yeah.
It comes through
Yeah.
stages, and people think that I will feel great after a session, or I will feel, oh my
Day
God, so
five.
relieved. Yes, but it's not like this. You trust me. When I did my psychotherapy on myself, like I have to do this. It was not easy. It was very, very, very hard. And I had to cry. I had like ups and downs for 3 days. It was very, very intense, my emotions, my mental health. And I had to go through all of these ups and downs and all of these emotions. And this is how healing looks like. People think, okay, I will just do it 1 year and I'm fine. No, some people take them 4 years. Some people take more than that to completely be okay with themselves. It depends on the person, and I told you again the case and what they really need. But healing goes from acknowledgement, acceptance, expression, understanding, and the most important thing after all of these, taking action. Because if you don't take action, it means that you are still in between. You need to do things differently than you used to do before. And this I realized with you, with our coaching together, that you took different actions, as you said, that you would have acted differently before. And this is a big success. When you take different actions, it means that you are going forward.
As a one for me, in my when I sit in my case, I don't see that so clearly as you, maybe from the outside. So maybe you give an easy example for taking actions differently, so you can be completely honest. I'm really, doesn't matter.
Um, taking actions in these situations is acting differently. For example, I'll talk about myself. I think it's better. So before I was more impulsive, let's say, or I was reactive. If somebody told me something that I didn't like, I would be defensive and I will take it so personal and I will feel like I'm being attacked because this is the inner child in me. Like, you're attacking me, you're attacking my being. So I have to defend myself. So therefore, I would shout, for example, or like act in a not in a very pleasant way, let's say. So after I healed from this, and after I understood and I accepted and I embraced why this happened to me, now I act completely different.
Yeah.
I practice if something is annoying me, which is normal, which is a lot of things still annoys me because I'm a human being. I don't want to get rid of my negative emotions. I just want to navigate my way around them. I take a deep breath and I ask myself, why do I feel like this? Okay, maybe okay, this is has nothing to do with you personally. It's just because there's another person or another, and they are also expressing themselves and they are also being. So I need to find my way how to connect and not to attack, or feel attacked. So this is what I mean by taking a different action.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what I acknowledged on myself too, but in a bit different cases when I get feedback or critic, I also tended to be really defensive and took it really personal. And now I look at it and think, okay, where is it coming from? And it's little Maya.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I react, but the reflection of myself is really fast.
Yes.
So in 2 or 3 minutes, I realize, okay, you are reacting, and then I'm also into, yeah, if I'm in a conversation, I realize, and then I say sorry, I just reacted from my emotions, and this is what I get also as feedback from, from the outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
By time it will be always it will be better. Like we what makes us human also is because we have a lot of knowledge and we have the ability to learn and grow. Not everybody has this, but you cannot not grow. You are aging, you are going through experiences, and you are learning. And I believe like time and experience will and understanding our emotions will help us get better in these things that we want to get better at. As I said in the beginning, the coping mechanisms, because you see like, okay, I feel anxious now, I feel distressed, I feel like this. Why? I want to develop new skills to make me feel better in the situation, to take a step back. I need to train myself. You need to
Yeah.
train your brain and your mind slowly to uh, uh, be better in the things that you want to take actions to.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice. So I have a last question for you, Salwa, because I think maybe there's some listener who is thinking like, oh, I feel like right now I'm going through a breakup or life-changing events, and I feel like really traumatized or mastered by my emotions, and I don't
Mhm.
have a coach or a therapist right now. Do you have like three big tips how to start to work with our emotions in this moment?
Mhm. The first thing is take care of yourself. What does it mean? Get enough sleep. This is enough sleep. Exercise. exercising, like sports, doing any kind of sports you like, at least 3 times a week. This is very essential. And eat well. When you take care of your body and you get these 3 pillars, the sleep, the training, and the food, you will start slowly to feel better about things. Do not avoid them, because people tend to, when they go through a breakup, they start neglecting these things. They eat less, they don't sleep well, they consume substances, they don't train, they stop taking care of themselves, because they attach the self-care to a person or to the relationship. Not everybody, but a lot of people do that. So this is the first thing, take care of yourself. Second of all, allow your emotions to be, listen to them, let them take space, feel them in your body. Try to understand that you are not rejected. You are not rejected. It's just this has happened to your life or whatever situation. And like just let it stay. And third of all, seek help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seek help, seek support from your community, from your family, seek a help from a professional who can help you understand yourself, help you go through this. There's no shame around it. This is very normal. We are humans, and this is the beauty of us. Beauty of being human is we are there for each other. We have an exchange of services, of benefits, of this, like we are communicating all the time at every second. So yes, these are the main 3
Amazing.
advices.
Thank you. Yeah, I think one could wrap it up to see that life is happening for you and not to you, and you can learn from your emotions. So, yeah, nice. So, I love this episode. Really, I made myself some notes too, because I learned from our conversations. I learned from all of our conversations a lot, and I'm really grateful for your support in the last months. And I can really recommend to seek kind of help, even when you feel like me, I don't have like a severe traumas or sexual abuse or so in the past. But I also was influenced from traumas, and it's okay, and it's good to hear them. So yes, Ava, if you want to have kind of words for the listeners at the end too, so you have the space now.
To wrap it up, I would like to say that thank you for your time, Maya, and for having me here. It's an honor, really. And thank you all for listening to me. And I wish you all a very happy, blissful life, and with being emotional, but not being afraid of our emotions, and let them be.
Yeah.
That's it.
So where do we find you? So because you are on social media too, and share some kind of interesting content. So just say it, and I will do it in the box in the description.
Yes, my Instagram is Salwa underscore Thomas. And this is where you underscore Salwa underscore Thomas. This is how you can find me. And yeah,
Okay.
you can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Um, I don't have a website yet, but it's coming on the
Welcome.
way.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.
Thank you.